They tell you that war is about glory. They tell you it's about the flag, about the maps, and about the grand speeches made by men in clean suits back in D.C. But when you're standing in the knee-deep mud of a dying empire, smelling the metallic tang of blood and the charcoal of burnt-out cities, you realize war isn't about the world. It's just about trying to find a way back to the person in the photo tucked inside your helmet. My name is Arthur. I was a husband, a son, and a carpenter. Now I'm just a serial number with a rifle. And this is how my world ended. It started at a kitchen table in Ohio. It was a Tuesday. One of those perfectly ordinary Tuesdays where the biggest worry I had was a leaky faucet in the guest bathroom. I can still smell the coffee, rich and dark, and the way the morning light hit the yellow linoleum floor. Evelyn was there. She was humming a song while she washed the breakfast dishes, her back to me. Then came the sound of the mail slot, a heavy, hollow thud that seemed to echo louder than it should have. I walked over and picked up the envelope. It was official, cold, and addressed to me in a font that looked like it had been typed by a machine that didn't care if I lived or died. I didn't even have to open it to know. The air in the room suddenly felt heavy, like the gravity had doubled. I looked at Evelyn. She was still humming, completely unaware that our lives had just been torn in half by a single piece of paper. I didn't say a word. I didn't want to break the last moment of peace we would ever have. I just sat back down, holding my death warrant, watching the steam rise from my cup until the coffee went cold and the sun moved across the floor. Now I'm thousands of miles from that kitchen. It's April 1945. We're deep inside the heart of the Reich, and the Great Crusade feels more like a long, slow walk through a graveyard. Everything here is gray. The sky is a permanent shade of lead, the buildings are jagged skeletons of brick, and the faces of the German civilians watching us from shattered windows are empty. They don't look like monsters, they just look tired. You'd think winning would feel better than this. We've pushed them back, we've crossed the Rhine, and the radio says the end is near. But for us, the end is always just the next 100 yards of dirt. We're all just ghosts in green jackets now. My boots haven't been dry in 3 weeks, and the skin on my feet feels like it's rotting off. My hands are permanently stained with oil, gunpowder, and the kind of dirt that doesn't wash away with soap. We don't talk about the cause anymore. We don't talk about democracy or the 4 freedoms. We talk about steak, thick, juicy cuts with grilled onions. We talk about the sound of a screen door slamming on a hot July evening. We talk about the first thing we're going to do when we step off the boat in New York. Miller, the kid from Brooklyn, wants to buy a Cadillac he can't afford. Henderson wants to go back to his father's farm and never look at a piece of metal again. And me? I just want to sit at that kitchen table and watch Evelyn hum. Today felt different. The air was still, and the smell of spring was trying to fight its way through the scent of diesel and decay. We were moving through a small valley, clearing out the remnants of a broken army. These aren't the elite units anymore. It's old men and terrified boys, but their bullets kill you just as dead. The sun is beginning to dip behind the tree line now, painting the sky in deep purples and bruised oranges. It's beautiful. It's the kind of beauty that feels like an insult when you're carrying 30 pounds of gear and a weapon meant for killing. It's the most beautiful thing I've seen since I left Ohio. We're moving along a high ridge, the valleys spread out below us like a map of a world that's finally stopped screaming. We only have a few more miles before we can dig in, close our eyes, and pretend we're somewhere else. I was thinking about the letter I started writing last night. I told Evelyn that the war was almost over. I told her I could see the light at the end of the tunnel. I was wondering if the apple tree in the backyard had bloomed yet. A sharp, distant crack echoes through the valley. It's a lonely sound. I don't feel pain at first. It's just a sudden, immense weight in my chest, like someone slammed a sledgehammer into my ribs with everything they had. The force of it spins me around. I try to take a breath, but my lungs feel like they've been filled with concrete. The air won't come. My legs, which have carried me across France and through the freezing mud of the Ardennes, suddenly feel like they're made of water. I drop to my knees. The gravel of the road feels sharp and cold against my skin, but I'm grateful for the sensation. It means I'm still here. It's funny. In the movies, people scream. They cry out for their mothers, or they give a big speech about the country. In reality, you just get very, very quiet. The world shrinks down to the size of a postage stamp. I can hear Miller shouting my name. He's screaming, frantic, his voice cracking, but he sounds like he's miles away, shouting at me from the bottom of a deep well. I can feel the heat starting to spread through my chest now. It's not a sting or a burn. It's a warmth, a strange, heavy, almost comforting numbness that's chasing away the biting cold of the German winter. It feels like a thick blanket being pulled over me. I look up at the sunset, and for a second, I forget about the blood soaking into my jacket. The gold is so bright it hurts. It's the color of Evelyn's hair when the light hits it just right. I want to reach into my helmet. I want to feel the glossy paper of the photo one last time. I want to see her face so I don't forget it in the dark. But my arm won't move. It feels like it weighs 1,000 pounds. I try to tell my brain to lift it, but the connection is gone. I'm just a spectator now, watching my own body fail. The light is everywhere now. It's not just in the sky anymore. It's bleeding into the edges of my vision, turning the gray world into a brilliant, blinding white. I can't hear the gunfire anymore. I can't hear Miller's sobbing. I can almost hear the sound of the kettle whistling on the stove. I can almost hear her humming that song, the one about the bluebirds over the white cliffs. I look at the sun one last time. It's so warm. I'm almost there, Evelyn. I whisper, though I'm not sure if the words actually leave my lips. Just a little further. The weight in my chest vanishes. The tired ache in my bones is gone. The sun goes down, dipping below the horizon and taking the war with it. And for the first time in 3 long years, I'm finally going home.